Hello there, I'm Salvatore. You may know me. Whether or not you want to hear my voice ever again after this video is another story. Have you ever wondered where food comes from? How we originated, how it went from boring berries and nuts into now Burger King and McDonald's is giving millions of people cancers every year? Yeah, how did we get to that? Well, first of all, it's not a single week process. This took millions upon millions upon millions of years. Food is the oldest technology known to man, and arguably, it's not even a technology. It's more than that. It's an important resource that humans need for survival. So, today in this documentary, I'm going to explain to you the entire history of food. I'm Salvatore, and this is the history of what goes into your mouth every single day. Let's start about, say, almost 5 billion years ago. When the planet was in its days of youth. Listen, everything was grown on plants. Your entire meals consisted of berries and nuts.
I am a Stegosaurus.
Yes, that is a Stegosaurus. Because this was around the time that I'm mentioning this. 2 million years later, humans learned how to kill. So, back then, I could pick up an entire sword, which did not exist until Neolithic times. I could pick up an entire sword, cut through right an animal, kill it, and then I could eat it. And you know what? That would be fine back then. Now you've got to deal with the FBI and God knows what else if you kill an animal. But hey, that's your choice. Around 400,000 BC, that's when humans start learning how to make fires. Now, they can grab that local bag, box, whatever the heck it is, full of, that liquid that you pour into your campfires, boom, you got a fire. No, they didn't have that more than 400,000 years ago. You know what they had? 2 sticks, 2 twigs, whatever you want to call them. You would rip them off a tree or wherever you would find them. You would rub them together for 3 hours nonstop, and boom, you would have a fire. And now the way that they used to cook these things, and I'll show you, is you would take the fire, okay, because you have the fire, you would set up a little thing where you would roll the thing over and over and over with a bunch of sticks, the thing that you wanted to cook, you would roll it over and over, and it'd be cooked. And if it were an animal, it'd already have to be dead. And there you go. 10,000 years later. No, more than that. 390,000 years later. 10,000 BC. Mesopotamian times. This is where it takes us this long to figure out how to grow crops. Apples, corn, oranges, bananas, whatever type of fruit you want to use. It takes us until the Mesopotamian times to learn how to grow food. We were able to grow our own food. We have all the power that we want. And now we are allowed to create a division of labor, different jobs such as, priests, pharaohs, kings. We don't all need to be farmers anymore. because there's a surplus of food. There's enough to feed civilization. And as we evolve, our food supply is going to continue to grow. And that because as human species, we will get creative. And we have gotten very, very creative. So we're growing everything now. We're finding ways to kill animals to get our food. That is our proteins and our meat. And we're finding a way to get our natural, berries and nuts and stuff. Yeah. So, less than 8,000 years later, what are we doing now? Well, this time we have spices. And what are we doing with spices? I'll tell you. We're beginning the spice trade. So, nowadays, we use our system of paper money, but back then, spices were the best way to get all your currency. Spices got you food. Spices got you water. Paper money did absolutely none of that. In fact, you were more likely to pay for money with spices than to pay for spices with money. See, now we have it backwards, but it wasn't that way back then. So, spices, yes. So, ancient Egyptians. Your social studies teacher will tell you that, Egyptians, let's see. They worship gods. They loved their gods. Oh boy, everything was for their god darn gods. Oh, excuse me. Anyway, yeah, here she is wrong. Egyptians are notably credited for creating the first candy. Now, this doesn't mean that Egyptians gave up their god temples so they can start putting in candy factories. That's not going to happen. So, what they do instead is they make candy suck. They use, berries, nuts, whatever good things they can find, anything that tastes sweet, and they put it in, they make a candy. Remember when I brought up, this is a prop for later. Remember when I brought up the spice trade a couple minutes ago or so? Well, guess what? It doesn't end there. Around 1000 BC, okay? That is when the first hot chocolate is created. It's made with water, spices, other ingredients, and it's shared with the Aztecs and Maya, who don't drink it as a drink or an energy source. You know what? No, we're not talking about the people up there. Instead, they use it for religious ceremonies. There you go. Instead, hot chocolate, nowadays, hot chocolate is made with more caffeine than anything you get from Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's. How about that one? That stupid spice trade. Thankfully, it does end in 1815. 1815 is when the spice trade officially ended. And in 1921, White Castle has its grand opening. Oh yeah. Now we start getting into all the good details. White Castle, the first fast food restaurant ever, with their tiny burgers, so small that they make you order more because you're still hungry, and they have the guts, they have the brain cells to charge you for it as well. Now, I've had my first trip to White Castle. Their burgers were delicious, but the price otherwise. Burger King has its first opening in 1954. McDonald's has its first opening just a year later. By the 60s, there's millions of other companies. Wendy's, Domino's, Dunkin' Donuts, whatever else. So they're all competing to be the cash cow. These countries are all competing for the money. And this doesn't mean kids' food is safe either. Any of you have a little brother, little sister that likes Chuck E. Cheese's? Yeah, who doesn't? The giant rat that chases everyone around. Well, guess what? Back then, here's another cash cow. Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater. It was founded in 1977 by Nolan Bushnell, who was the co-founder of Atari. You heard me right. Chuck E. Cheese's, where kids can go eat recycled pizza and play games, is founded by the same guy who made these awesome games at Atari, which is now PlayStation, Xbox, whatever else. Its biggest historical competitor, Showbiz Pizza, opened 3 years later. And now, unfortunately, only Chuck E. Cheese's makes it out of the 90s, as Showbiz Pizza files for bankruptcy in 1992. Gee, looks like somebody's been spending too much money on the animatronics, am I right? Literally just put money out there. The 1990s were especially not a good time to be the Mr. Beast of fast food restaurants. And McDonald's doesn't want to listen to that warning. The 1994 McDonald's coffee case. The McDonald's coffee lawsuit, as others may know it. Now, you might have heard that the lady was driving like a maniac. She was going mad with her coffee. Oh, no. That isn't correct. She did not just go up to the jury and say, I burned coffee on my legs. I want $2.7 million. That didn't happen. You know what did happen? I'll tell you. Stella, who was the person, got the coffee on her legs, was in her grandson's car drinking the coffee. So Stella goes to the McDonald's, right? And she spills coffee all over her legs. Now, how do we demonstrate where the coffee went? That is a great question, and I'm going to show you. Let's say that this poor drawing of a stick figure is Stella, right? Sure. We will hang it right here. Okay? Can you see it? I'm pretty sure you can, and if not, I don't care. Now, here is this poor stick figure, whatever the heck this even is going to represent Stella, okay? Now, this coffee, maybe about 15% filled with water, is going to represent the coffee, which at the time was over a boiling temperature. That's right, people. It was past 400 degrees. And it is against the law to serve coffee that hot. But McDonald's didn't care. They were serving their coffee at 400 degrees. And as a result, this is what happened to Stella's legs. Guess what happens now? Uh-oh, Stella has to go to the hospital. 6 months of staying in that crummy hospital with that crummy food, that crummy nurse. Not literally crummy. Stella had tried multiple times to get McDonald's to pay her many medical bills. But after 6 months of waiting, McDonald's only offered her $800. When Stella got out of the hospital, she decided to go to court. I mean, because I'm so dumb. So, what happens next is that Stella goes to court. The McDonald's jury found that McDonald's had been acting so irresponsibly, so foolishly, that they had to be punished. $2.7 million, which back then was 2 days coffee sales. That's how much McDonald's owed to Stella. And now she's a billionaire. So, you make dumb choices, your money gets dumb too. let's go ahead, let's just throw away the money because apparently we don't want to be responsible with our customers. Woo! Woo! And there you go. So, that's the end of the documentary. And what I wanted to take away from this, what I wanted you to take away from this, is that we have gone so far in our evolution. It's been a long, and even longer journey. We went from eating off of plants to eating from fast food drives. And like I said, this was no fast process. This took thousands and thousands of years. So, that is the story of how we humans have made smart and dumb decisions with our food and drink, and as a result, we have gotten better or worse in society, or we just simply become a meme. You learned something new, and I hope you enjoyed this documentary, because I am never doing this again. I'm Salvatore.